We can jump in now, however, because this is a big topic that's going to take a few minutes to kind of distill. And a credit to Joe being on top of this first thing in the morning today. And it is Amazon's acquisition of MGM. And James Bond, Rocky, RoboCop, and more iconic characters in American cinema now have a new home. MGM was founded all the way back in 1924, and it's going to be acquired by Amazon for $8.46 billion with a B dollars. Now, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money right off the bat. It's a lot of money right off the bat. Like, just I was looking at, like, there's a great graph. There's a really good graph on Variety, I believe it is, that shows kind of the acquisitions of Time Warner and a bunch of other stuff. Sorry, my cat's distracting me over here. But at any rate, it shattered industry expectations. There was another piece of the article, too, that talked about it was about, they thought it would be about $5 to $6 billion, the asking price. But when you consider that streaming services were talking about dropping $600 million for the distribution rights to No Time to Die, like, that's a lot of money right there off the bat. Amazon might have gotten a steal in that case, because remember we were talking about that No Time to Die, how that was going to be, it was in talks to be acquired by MGM or by Amazon or Apple or Netflix for like $600 million. Amazon might have gotten a steal at $8.46 million. MGM has more than 4,000 movies and 17,000 TV shows in its catalog, and a treasure trove of intellectual property. That's how Mike Hopkins, Senior VP of Prime Video, referred to it. And, you know, that's what we call movies nowadays, IP, content. That's kind of the dehumanizing words we use to describe, or at least the industry experts use to describe movies. And we never really heard that before the streaming service game. There's a lot of different directions we can take this. Dom, you always come with opinions on Amazon. I want to know your thoughts on this.
I won't go so hard, but I will say that, look, man, 8.45 billion, exceeding the expectations by an extra 2 billion. Look, Jeff Bezos, he just wants to play Blofeld. I think that he just wants the cat. He wants the swivel chair, and he wants to face off against Daniel Craig in another movie. It's just what he wants. Also, he saw Goldfinger and was like, "Yo, I relate to the bad guy here." Yeah. And then he was like, I gotta get, guys, another 2 billion. That's okay. I'll sell one of my 12 million yachts just for you guys. That's okay. I want to work with Mr. Craig. But no, yeah. In the infinite coffers that is Amazon, an extra 2 billion is not really that much. And what they get out of it is that massive content boost. Not quite as big as, say, like a Disney thing, or Disney acquiring Fox, which is absolutely perfect for them. That has been in their sights, I'm sure, for a long time, at least since the start of the superhero era, but certainly well before that. But with Amazon, they needed, I mean, they've already got a lot under their belt just by way of being Amazon and having the cloud, but having that library, yes, those IPs, that, you know, that massive archive of content will be a boost. And their flagship, I'm sure I've missed something else obvious, but their flagship, one of their flagship IPs is the legendary James Bond franchise, which, you know, every now and then I just forget. I was like, yeah, James Bond, that is like a that is like a film, that is a cinema like dynasty, that is a mainstay of so many, the mother of so many genres in some ways, or, you know, the granddaddy of a lot of genres, a lot of styles, a lot of great title sequences, even innovative in so many ways, and so many great actors and careers. So to have James Bond under the Amazon belt really is something else. So accentuate, you know, if you're looking at why MGM, I'm sure it'll come to light. You dig deeper into that archive. It's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. We get like all like the Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, you know, films that they made together. A lot of musicals, so many.
A lot of musicals, like, Legally Blonde.
A lot of musicals. Like MGM was one of the OG studios that made so many great American Hollywood, great American songbook, and like Broadway film, Broadway hits. And again, more and more will come to light that you'll just same way when you think of like Viacom. Yeah, Viacom. Oh yeah, Nickelodeon. Oh, this and that, and so many other things.
MTV.
Now, if you could do me a favor and switch to that table there, just by way of, again, accentuating that this was a good deal for Amazon. If you compare it with like Disney's acquisition of Fox at $71 billion, for The Simpsons and the X-Men, among a few other things, I'm sure. But, to get that is really something else. So I just want to say that, Jeff, you really, you got a good deal, bro. You certainly got a good deal out of this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you look at the other acquisitions here. It's comparatively less than the 85.5 billion with a B dollars that AT&T struck with Time Warner, as you mentioned, or the 71 billion that Disney threw at Fox to swallow up their content as well. And like I said, it's all about that latest buzzword, which is content. You never heard that word until streaming services became such a big player. And now it's the point, too, where now Prime Video, whenever this goes through, and over time, it's going to take months, if not years. But when that MGM library is on Prime Video, that further incentivizes, Prime Video customers. I mean, people want to keep Amazon Prime anyway, just because of the shopping deals on Amazon. But then you get the Prime Video side of things, and it makes Amazon a hugely attractive streaming hub too, along with HBO Max, who also is very much prioritizing classics and a lot of older stuff on their content library as well. Joe, you want to chime in? Any thoughts on Amazon's acquisition?
I'll keep it light because you guys kind of just covered everything I was going to even touch on. I'm just glad Disney did not acquire another studio. Because that was my concern, is that when we were reading the reports early on when we started Sleepless with Steve, when the pandemic first started, this was one of the studios that was in question, and we talked about is No Time to Die going to just be bought by Amazon or Netflix, or is the whole studio going to be bought? And I'm just glad it's okay, yeah, Amazon now owns MGM, they own all these properties. And as much as Amazon as a company, yeah, I use them all the time, but I still think as a company they kind of suck to their employees and everything and all that stuff. I will admit, entertainment wise, I do enjoy a lot of the things they put out there. I like The Boys, I like Invincible, love The Sound of Metal. I know that wasn't done, but they just acquired it and distributed. They at least put out some good stuff on their streaming platform. But you also get some disappointments, like Coming to America and Without Remorse, that new Tom Clancy movie with Michael B. Jordan. It's good to see that okay, now they're getting the RoboCop franchise, they're getting the Tomb Raider franchise. Maybe we'll finally get a good Tomb Raider movie. Maybe they'll reboot Stargate. Maybe we'll reboot the Pink Panther and it'll be good. But the big one is for me though is James Bond. Is that going to only be on their streaming services? Are all these movies only going to be available on their streaming services? Am I no longer going to see that gun barrel on a big screen? I'm going to be watching it on my computer screen, going across and then shooting James Bond, or James Bond shooting me. That is my only thing. Is I don't know if they're going to be keeping we'll still release the movies in theaters, but you can watch them at home, or if they're just going to be Prime exclusives. That is yet, I think, to be kind of seen. But we'll see. But yeah, in terms of the deal they got, yeah, Dom hit it right on the head with the chart that we have here. Man, they got the best deal out of everybody. For the properties,
they did. For
the properties you get, that's a great deal. James Bond alone, I think, is just $8.5 billion. But now you get RoboCop and all these Poltergeist, all these other things on top of it. That's just the cherry on top.
Also, I can't accentuate enough. It's Amazon.
Yeah.
The infinite money pit that can probably buy out a few of the buyers on this table,
Yeah, probably.
So if they really wanted to.
100%. I mean, what I will say to Joe's point, though, the concern about James Bond is that it's going to be co-owned. I think Amazon, because Bond's almost like its own separate entity, I think Amazon gets 50% of Bond. But Eon Productions is another production company that's attached to Bond. And I guess there was another piece that I read earlier today that the owners of Eon Productions have a lot of creative control over the direction of that series, from casting choices to plot elements to a lot of different things too.
Okay.
So I don't think Amazon's going to handedly take that and run with it. They're going to have to answer, I think, to Eon Productions on that as well.
No Blofeld Bezos then? That's not going to happen?
Dude, they've got to do a bit about that at some point. Someone's going to do that.
Yeah, Bezos, they're not going to try, like, God love any screenwriter who's going to try to write, like, a Bezos clone as the next Bond villain. Good, God love you. What you want to say, Dom?
Did you guys mention Legally Blonde?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I was about to say, like, Legally Blonde. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, and sure, we Americans, I just want to end with this, though. We Americans love the illusion of choice and options, but I do think that fewer movie studios means potential problems for moviegoers in America and cinema as a whole, too. And the pandemic doesn't help matters either. Where buying MGM enriches America's sort of already enriches Amazon's already illustrious catalog, and it gives consumers even more of a reason to keep Prime on top of unbeatable deals on the website as well. How much bigger of a player Amazon is going to be in the world is really anybody's guess. But now, ever since that Amazon Studios, and I remember saying it too, back when The Big Sick was like their first real big hit, and a couple others that in 2017, they really stormed on the scene, Amazon Studios. I'm like, they're going to try to really get into movie making in a big way. And you're seeing it now, obviously.
They could have floundered for so long with so many movies just because they have the money to do that. But the fact that they hit it big with The Big Sick means that they're off to a great start, which means there's gonna be a rise, an unstoppable rise that in some way or another will just overtake. So we're seeing the midst of that already, and I'm sure it'll only get bigger from there. Kudos to the Variety article for giving at least one paragraph at the end about the Washington, D.C. Attorney General filing antitrust lawsuits. I did actually get a couple people, shout out to them, for asking me, it's like, hey, isn't it illegal for Amazon to like buy MGM because of some Supreme Court thing? And kudos to people who remember that. But that is Paramount versus United States. However, MGM is not a theater. It is another studio. So perfectly fine, legal. Morally, you make that choice, but legally, Amazon can purchase another studio because they are themselves a studio. What they cannot do, at least until they buy out enough Congress people, but what they cannot do is buy a theater chain, because then that would be you're both a studio and a theater chain, and that's just too much power, at least decided in that Supreme Court case, which is good in my opinion.